There are certain wellness practices that feel a little mysterious. You hear about them in passing, maybe from a friend, maybe on Instagram, maybe from someone who swears it changed their life. But no one really explains why or how to use them without making it sound a little strange.
Castor oil is definitely one of those. It's been around forever, but it's having a big moment again. And a lot of midlife women are curious, but also a little skeptical.
And honestly, that's fair, because when something is labeled a miracle remedy, it's hard to not have doubts.
So today we're cutting through the hype and having a grounded, practical conversation about castor oil, what it actually does, what the research supports, how women are using it in midlife, and how to do it in a way that feels supportive, not overwhelming.
Welcome back to Midlife and Glowing. I'm Alicia.
And I'm Nicole, and today we're talking about castor oil, the benefits, the different ways to use it, what to look for when buying it, and how it might fit into your midlife self-care rituals.
So let's start with the basics. Castor oil feels very old school, like something maybe your grandma might have sworn by.
Yes, and there's a reason for that. Castor oil has been used for centuries in traditional medicine systems. And what we're really talking about here is its main active component, a fatty acid called ricinoleic acid, which sounds intimidating, but basically it has documented anti-inflammatory and pain-relieving properties, especially when used topically. And inflammation is a huge piece of the midlife puzzle.
Right, and in midlife, we're often dealing with bloating, sluggish digestion, pelvic discomfort, joint aches, sleep issues, aging skin. Now, this all doesn't sound very glamorous, but I promise midlife is amazing. But things that don't always have a clear cause but make us feel off.
And castor oil isn't about forcing your body to do anything. It's more about supporting circulation, lymphatic flow, and relaxation, which are all things that tend to slow down as hormones shift.
Okay, one thing that comes up a lot with castor oil is how deeply it penetrates. And that sounds impressive, but what does that actually mean?
So this is one of the most unique things about castor oil. Because of its molecular structure, specifically the ricinoleic acid, it penetrates deeper into the skin and underlying tissues than many other oils.
So it's not just sitting on the surface like a lot of skincare products do.
Exactly. It doesn't just moisturize the top layer of skin. It moves through the skin barrier and into the tissues beneath, which is why it's been used historically for things like inflammation, circulation, and lymphatic support.
And that's a big deal in midlife.
It really is. As estrogen shifts, our skin becomes thinner, drier, and less efficient at repair. Deeper penetration means better delivery of nourishment, better hydration, and more support where the body actually needs it.
So whether you're using it on your abdomen, joints, or skin, you're not just doing surface level care, you're supporting deeper layers of tissue and circulation. Okay, so let's talk about the benefits, because there are a lot of them that you probably don't even know about.
One of the biggest is anti-inflammatory support. When applied topically, castor oil can help calm inflammation in the area it's used, which is why people often apply it over the abdomen, lower back, or joints.
Another big one I hear women talk about is digestion.
Right. Castor oil packs over the abdomen can help support digestion and relieve constipation by encouraging circulation and gentle movement in the gut. We're not talking about dramatic overnight results, just subtle support. And something that I'll add here, which we'll talk more about in a minute, is that it's known to support the parasympathetic nervous system or stimulate the parasympathetic nervous system. So it supports that rest and digest mode. When your parasympathetic nervous system is working well, peristalsis works better. Peristalsis is that rhythmic contraction and relaxation of the intestines to move things through your GI tract. So when that's working well, it can relieve constipation or sluggish digestion.
And then there's the lymphatic piece,
which is huge. Castor oil packs can support lymphatic drainage, helping with that heavy, puffy, stagnant feeling a lot of women notice in midlife.
And honestly, maybe one of its most impactful and underrated benefits, the nervous system.
You're right. The warmth, the pressure, the stillness, it all helps activate your parasympathetic nervous system, as I mentioned, which is that rest and digest state we rarely spend enough time in. Being in parasympathetic activity is necessary for your body to heal and repair. So this oil helps shift you into that state, which is a huge, huge benefit.
Okay, let's shift into skin for a minute, because this is where a lot of women are starting to experiment with castor oil.
And for good reason. Castor oil is deeply hydrating, but unlike some heavier oils, it actually helps the skin retain moisture rather than just coating it.
So it's supportive for dry, thinning midlife skin.
Yes, it can help improve skin softness, elasticity, even wrinkles, pigmentation issues, and barrier function, especially when estrogen levels are declining and skin is more prone to dryness and irritation. This is great news.
I personally have been using this for a while as a step in my skincare routine. It's actually my final step in my nighttime skincare routine that I put over the top. I just kind of pat it over the top of my other products to seal in the moisture and benefits. I love it. As someone who has very dry skin, I feel like it's really nourishing. And I also put it in my eyebrows because I've heard it can help with hair growth. Now, whether that's true or not, I don't know, but it feels good. It's not hurting anything.
Right? That makes sense. I love it. And I don't use it in exactly the same way, but I do like to put it on during the day, actually, on days when I don't wear makeup. And I do notice how deeply moisturizing it is. And I also notice that when I use it, my skin looks less inflamed, like my skin looks better. I do also occasionally do castor oil packs over the liver, which we'll cover more in a minute. But because of how deeply it penetrates, a common use of it is facial massage or lymphatic drainage to support circulation, reduce puffiness, and give the skin a more nourished look.
And it has antimicrobial properties too,
which can make it helpful for supporting skin balance, especially if someone is dealing with congestion, occasional breakouts, or compromised skin barrier.
And an important note though, a little goes a long way. This is a very thick oil, so it's not something you slather on like lotion. Okay, now let's talk about some additional ways to use castor oil. Let's start with the most well-known method, the castor oil pack.
This is the most researched and effective way to use castor oil. You'll need organic castor oil, a piece of flannel, bamboo, or cotton cloth, something to protect your clothing or furniture, or there are special castor oil packs that have a bamboo or organic cotton inner layer and a protective outer layer so the oil doesn't get on anything else. You can find these on Amazon. And then a heating pad or hot water bottle.
And how it works is you add 1 teaspoon to 1 tablespoon of castor oil to the cloth, place it over your abdomen, often over the liver or lower belly. You cover it, add gentle heat, and rest for about 30 to 45 minutes. And some people do wear these overnight, but you do want to start slow with these as it has powerful effects.
Right. It actually really does. The first time I did it, I only had it on for maybe an hour or so in the evening, and I actually felt even a little bit nauseous when I went to bed. So it does have powerful effects, but the idea is to relax and treat this as a ritual. Maybe lay down, breathe, listen to a yoga nidra session, journal, let your nervous system really soak it up. Castor oil does have anti-inflammatory and pain-relieving properties, so you could use it over the low back if you're struggling with issues there.
Okay, another use is the belly button method.
Yes, this involves applying a few drops of castor oil into the belly button and covering it with a patch overnight.
There isn't research to support this method being better than other methods to enjoy the benefits, but it's low risk and it's gentle.
If you're curious, it's something you can experiment with a few nights a week and see how your body responds.
Okay, and like we often say, not all products are created equal, and this part matters a lot.
Exactly. If you're going to put something on your body regularly, quality is non-negotiable.
So here's what you want to look for. First, organic. Castor plants can be heavily sprayed, so organic matters. Second, hexane-free. Hexane is a chemical solvent sometimes used in extraction. You do not want that penetrating into your skin. And third is cold press. This preserves the beneficial compounds and avoids chemical processing. Fourth, dark glass bottle. This protects the oil from light and oxidation. Clear plastic bottles are a no. And finally, minimal ingredients. It should just say castor oil. Keep it simple. All right, let's close with today's glow reflection.
What rituals help me feel grounded and regulated in my body right now?
You can journal on that, reflect on it, or just let it land the next time you give yourself permission to rest.
Thank you so much for spending a few minutes with us on Midlife and Glowing.
If this episode sparked curiosity or helped you feel more confident exploring castor oil, share it with a friend who might love it too.
And leaving a review is one of the easiest ways to support the show and help these conversations reach more women.
We'll see you next time, and until then, keep choosing small, nourishing rituals that support where you are right now.